It is a Frankless Friday, and we're breezing through hour one. We've had a wonderful show so far. Just to recap, we had on Assemblywoman Nicole Maliotakis, who was challenging Max Rose, congressman here in New York 11, newly minted congressman in the supposed blue wave Democrat. He knocked out a Republican in a Trump district. And we have been an ongoing fight here to get some comment out of the congressman's office as to why he changed his position, and now he's for impeaching the president on some hearsay evidence by an unnamed whistleblower. But we'll get to all that and more a little later in the show, my final thoughts. But every day, we don't just bring you the guests in politics. We bring you the guests who know where the rubber meets the road, business people, entrepreneurs, people that make business happen. And I love highlighting these entrepreneurs and talking about how they got there to educate you and make our audience a little smarter from everyday's show. Sam Bobley joins me today. He's the CEO and co-founder of Ocrulus. It's a fintech company focused on getting more open source banking. Sam, I want to thank you very much for joining us. Tell us about this. I want to tell you that I've been talking to our audience on Liquid Lunch for quite some time now about how the banking lobby in Washington is one of the most powerful lobbies out there. And anything that brings disruption or change to the legacy banks is the enemy of the legacy banks. So tell us a little bit about Ocrulus, and then I want to get into how you came up with the idea and turned it into a business.
Sure, thanks, John. Ocrulus is a growth stage fintech company that analyzes financial documents with perfect accuracy. What we do is we ingest financial documents like bank statements and pay stubs. We use a unique process that combines machine data capture techniques and a human-in-the-loop validation process to transform any document, cell phone images, scans, e-documents, you name it, into perfectly accurate, structured digital data. The product is primarily used by lenders to automate the loan underwriting process, which historically has been very manual and today can be automated end-to-end via an API.
So that's amazing, and it seems like we're in a time, yesterday we had on a guy who was talking about the gig economy. We're in a time right now where technology is allowing for more efficient peer-to-peer transactions, right? And you're basically in the automated data processing business. I seem to see other places, you know, my background is in the market for 25 years. About 5 years ago, I started getting into blockchain and cryptocurrencies because I was intrigued by eliminating middlemen from most transactions and cross-border transactions. How are you guys? I know you went out there and you raised $30 million, right, for this idea, which is a huge accomplishment. But how are you guys faring with kind of moving those legacy institutions?
Yeah, great question. What we've found real success is in the fintech space with tech companies who are more nimble and more prone to adapt new technology. We've been able to shave underwriting processes that used to take weeks or days down to 15 minutes or less. We've had the most success in the fintech lending space, but we're now selling our technology into mortgage lender and banks, where, granted, it is a different sales cycle and a different, it's more difficult to get the concept introduced, but the need for the product and the technology is actually more acute. And what we're seeing in the market now is even mortgage lenders and banks, they want to catch up, they want to implement technology, and they want to make a more seamless experience for their customer.
Well, it's kind of like a lot of, even on Wall Street, you got the Depository Trust Company, they're still running COBOL applications, you know what I mean? And they built all these legacy Band-Aids around it to create these, ways to adapt to newer things. But at the core of the development is still this stuff that was, cool in the 70s or something. You guys are cutting edge. You're right on the edge of the stuff that you're doing for the banks. So it's going to get hard for banks at some point and underwriters as institutions to not move to technology because there's probably more possibility for error. By not having technology.
There's more possibility for error. The process takes a significant amount of time. And what's happening now is tech companies are moving into the lending space. So it started with fintech lenders like SoFi, OnDeck, Lending Club, et cetera, taking some market share from banks. What's happening more recently is tech giants like Amazon and Uber are moving into the lending space as well, which is creating a real impetus for banks to adopt technology, streamline their processes and be able to serve a wider customer base than they previously had.
I always try to have, I've built a couple companies from scratch. LocateStock.com was the first ever electronic platform for securities lending, which was collateralized equity financial transactions. And then I was vice president of technology for T0, which we did the first ever U.S. security token on the blockchain. And I always try to bring my guests and other guests who I know together. I'm starting this business where we're going to be lending against bitcoins and cryptocurrency. And it's a collateral business, a low loan to value. Maybe we got to put our heads together and figure out how you could bring your fintech over to blockchain, and I could bring some blockchain over to fintech.
It's possible. I think it's definitely a hot topic lately. I saw SoFi is now starting to get into the crypto space as well, so it's definitely the next wave.
No doubt about it. Sam, I want to thank you very much. Check out
Ocrulus.
Ocrulus.
You got it.
And check out their website, see what they're doing. Maybe there's an application for your business that could save you a boatload of time and money and take some risk and liability out of your underwriting process. But there's no risk in you staying right where you are for just 2 minutes, and we'll be back right after this with Liquid Lunch.